How do you tag people?
Where?
Facebook.
Use at.
Okay, yep, thanks. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The winter is over and it is time to get going again. Welcome to the second round of the FSR 2017 season. It's time for the World Championship. My name is Felix van Delft and I am joined here once again by Dave Paling.
Oh my days. Hello everybody, it's time for the WC.
Yes, definitely. We are up for some very interesting racing here, I think. I mean, it is raining. You don't see it on this helicopter shot, unfortunately, because the helicopter shot is sadly not entirely live. But I can assure you it has been raining. The track is wet at the moment and qualifying is on the way. Let's take a quick look at the track info. Right, the forecast was some rain, so there has been some rain, and basically, yeah, we are at the Bahrain track. Round 2, round 1 has been postponed, unfortunately, so that is why we are running round 2 as the first race here that we are live streaming for the 2017 season. But yeah, the Bahrain circuit, 5.4 kilometers long. Of course, we're driving here for 57 laps, and yeah, it's gonna be some interesting race with the rain, of course. Right, let's go back to the let's go to the track. Here we go. So Dave, how are you doing? I mean, been a long winter, and we're now back here at the track.
It has been a long winter, and some of us have been very, very busy in that time. So while we're public, I'll just say congratulations for your result yesterday. Surprised and shocked a few people, but can't say that anyone deserved that result more than yourself. As for what we've got going on the track today in the World Championship, there were comments a few weeks ago, people saying, oh, what are we doing testing Bahrain in the wet? It never rains there. And then today it absolutely hammers it down. Although looking at the racetrack at the moment, it is getting drier. The rain isn't falling anymore. The drivers are still on intermediate tyres, although I think Lars Brugman and Mohammed Patel have gone out now on the option tyre. So what I'm looking for today is some epic racing, and to see if those with the egos can back it up, because it's not showing off if you can back it up.
Yes, exactly. Mohammed Patel indeed out on the dry tyre, the option tyre. You can see that wet line here on board with Patel. You can see that wet line or the dry line forming quite nicely at the moment. However, I can assure you, once you only go with half a meter of that dry line, you will lose a lot of grip and lose a lot of time with that as well.
Definitely. Now, these cars, I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk during the Ace race yesterday. I don't know what was said during Pro today, because I've not had a chance to watch it yet. I've not even had a chance to have a drink. And these cars, they're very, very different animals to what we were racing last season. No DRS, no boost, but still plenty of power. And in conditions like this, could still be very, very tricky, as Mohammed Patel is now starting his first flying lap on the option tyre. But in these conditions, there is a bit of a dry racing line, and if you don't stick to it, you're going to find yourself off the racetrack. These cars, from what I found out in today's race, yes, there's no DRS. Overtaking can still be done, though. But strategy is going to play a massive part of this. And strategy is something, Felix, that you used very well yesterday. But, I mean, given the conditions, how difficult do you think it is for the drivers at the moment, considering that I reckon in pure dry situation, we'd be looking at mid-29s, high 29s for a pole time?
Yes, indeed. And actually, as we are saying that, it starts to drizzle again a little bit here on the circuit. But yeah, for dry qualifying, I would indeed expect the pole position time to be around 129.5, maybe a little bit higher, a little bit lower maybe even. But yeah, in Ace we saw the pole position that was a 129.9, and in Pro today it was a 130.1. So I think it's safe to say that with these cars with more downforce, more grip in general than the cars we had last year, that the gaps between Ace, Pro and WC have shrunken a little bit.
I think Mohammed Patel may be about to steal pole position here. Depends on how the final sector's been, because it's now not drizzling anymore. It's hammering, down to 11th place, well, up to 11th. The rain just came a little too soon for him, meaning Michele D'Alessandro and Martin Stefanko may have just got away with this one, sitting in first and second.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, the track probably was the driest at the beginning of the session now. And maybe some drivers who decided to wait a little bit for it to dry up and then set their laps are now finding themselves with their hands in their hair.
Yeah, Mohammed Patel, he's backed out of this one. It's definitely not a dry tyre track at the moment, unfortunately. D'Alessandro and Stefanko weren't able to get a lap in on the slick tyre, although Stefanko looks like he is going to try, but I don't think it's going to work. So yeah, intermediate tyres are what the pole time has been set on.
Yeah, at the moment, indeed. Martin Stefanko, however, is still out on dry tyres. First sector, actually, he just abandoned his lap, so that's not happening for him. Let's go on board with Jim Paresis. He is also on a lap, but he's 7/10 down on his personal best after the second sector, and he also abandons his lap. It's looking to be a well, fairly quickly decided qualifying session at the moment, because it seems that the track has become a lot slower after this little rainstorm, thunderstorm, however you want to call it.
Definitely. And given the conditions, I mean, if you were sat at home watching this and you see people just driving around as the track getting wetter, how would you explain that to a viewer that's not fully in the know of what a driver might be thinking?
Well, it's difficult to say. I don't know.
Shall I answer my own question then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, the drivers will keep going round because it's extra time on the track in these conditions. Because if the race is going to be wet, they need to know what that cut-off point might be from intermediates to wets, and from slicks to inters and so on. So, yeah, we may see guys going out on the track for the rest of this qualifying session and not improving their lap times, but it's all about experience. And there'll be a few people now that'll be wishing they had attended the Bahrain wet test we did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, well said there. Aros Mashuli at the moment looking for his first time of the session. Let's see what he can do. Coming to the line now out of the last corner. First and second sector weren't all too good. Let's see what he can do. Puts himself up to 18th position. So basically last position at the moment. Only Christopher Raby and Michi Hoyer, who haven't set a lap yet, are below him.
Interestingly, Francesconi's gone out on the full wet tyre now.
Yeah, I was about to say that he indeed is the first one to go out on these full wet tires. The difference between the full wet and the intermediates is definitely noticeable, especially with these kind of conditions. And you can really see there. 5 minutes ago there was a completely dry line forming, and now it's just full wet everywhere on the track. So very, very difficult conditions here for the drivers at the moment. Everybody also in their pit box except Blair Disley, who now pulls up.
He's going to the pits.
Yeah.
Omar Russell, he's out there still in the Invictus Motorsport car, testing out the intermediate tyres. And it is good experience, whether it's going to be useful in the race or not, because now the qualifying session has begun. There's not a lot the drivers can do in respect to making any changes to their car. They could perhaps add a bit more front wing, soften up their brake pressure and their bias, but other than that, there's not a whole lot they can do once they leave the pits for the first time.
No, exactly. So Michi Hoyer also on a lap at the moment, about to finish it. Omar Russell is just about starting his. Let's see what Michi does. Michi up to P19, so basically he can't get anywhere close to the times at the top. So at the moment, I think it's safe to say that Michele D'Alessandro is looking to be on pole position.
I think you could be right. I mean, is that a bit of a surprise for the first race of the season in FSR World Championship?
Well, Michele has of course been driving in World Championship last year as well, but I mean, I think a lot of these drivers maybe got a bit caught out by this thunderstorm passing over the circuit just 5 minutes ago.
Well, Dan Brewer, he's gone out on the full wet tyre and finding out there's not a lot of grip out there, even on the full wets. Mohamed Patel, he's decided to stick with the intermediate tyres. Blair Disley, he's popped the wets on, but it's a very tricky situation for the drivers now, because, I mean, I mentioned earlier they may go to the track to get a bit of experience, but if they're not learning anything, then they simply won't go out.
No, exactly. I mean, the only thing they basically can do at the moment is gather information about how the track is going to be. But yeah, qualifying, as I said before, I think it's pretty much done. 5 minutes remaining in the session now, and yeah, I don't think it's gonna dry up, or maybe it stops raining in a minute or two, but don't know. I don't think even it's going to be dry, at least as dry as it was at the beginning of this session.
Well, talking about drying, I mean, I know last season when it rained at Silverstone and it rained at Spa, there was talk about when people were on the intermediate tyres, the circuit, even though it wasn't raining, the circuit wasn't really drying. The racing line was, but the rest of the circuit wasn't. But I believe a few things have been changed for this season to try and help a drying track properly dry out. So I don't think we'll see people running intermediates once it's been stopped raining for, say, half an hour for a race.
Yep, I think there's been some little changes with that behind the screens. But yeah, let's hope this race can go all in full glory. And I don't know, the test race we had last week was really quite special. The rain gods were well, quite well, how do you say that? Wispelturig in Dutch, but they change their minds all the time. Let's say that.
I can't help anybody with the translation of that one. Sorry, not a lot I can do about that one. I tried finding what you called yourself on Discord last night to mention it during the broadcast, and I couldn't find it. What was it? Felix Van Fast something.
What?
Don't tell me you don't even remember yourself. I went looking for it, but I couldn't find it. I didn't have a lot of time to go hunting for it.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that comes up later today.
Yeah, anyone that's on FSR that's in Discord and can find what Felix called himself, let me know so I can broadcast his ego during this wet session. I bet you've missed me, haven't you, Felix?
Yeah, I definitely did. Well, luckily you can't commentator curse me because I already drove.
I know, and I will not do it for the next race either.
Okay.
So yeah, because you could always do it to me, so I'd rather not. Okay, still a few drivers out there on the wet tyres. It looks like the rain may be picking up a little bit, but the track is completely damp now, and so will the curbs be. And drivers are going to be struggling because, I mean, this car, it does handle quite nicely when you've got a setup working for it, but drivers tend to take it to that very limit, the absolute knife edge of grip for dry conditions. It's where a lot of the speed can come from. So you suddenly add a bit of a damp track to the equation, and all of a sudden the limit is changed. That knife edge is pointing a slightly different way. So in these conditions, there's going to be a lot more understeer. There's going to be a lot more oversteer. And if people have got a perky front end, it's not going to grip, or it might just turn in a little too much and send that rear spinning.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. I think this qualifying session, see you how many minutes are remaining. We have got 1.5 minutes remaining, and all the drivers riding about 147, 149. Daniel Brewer just did a 47.9. Blair Disley did a 49.8. So it's all around that 47, 1 minute 50 mark at the moment with these wet tires. Michele D'Alessandro also out on track on the wet tires at the moment.
None of the drivers in the top 6 that have put the wet tyres on have managed to put a lap in yet. Let's see, Daniel Brewer's managed to do a 148.237 on them.
Yep. Michele D'Alessandro running wide into the gravel trap at the exit of second to last corner there. Losing a little bit of his wing, especially the wing end blade. So Daniel Kiss right in front of his teammate Mohammed Patel. You can see the spray forming a little bit. The rain has, well, I think gotten a little bit less. And we saw there Daniel Kiss almost spinning into the wall. So session is officially over now, and I guess it is safe to say that Michele D'Alessandro is on pole position here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Martin Stefanko right behind him with just over 2 tenths. Jonas Simocic in 3rd position, and then Daniel Kiss in 5th position. I think, really a qualifying session that we won't see often this season, I think.
No, I think you're very... I mean, of all places for it to rain, Bahrain is obviously the one that nobody was expecting. But, yeah, I mean, there's a few tracks that we may see a sprinkle, the likes of Silverstone, Spa. Any of them could get a bit of precipitation on the circuit. But, I mean, what a way to start the season. Bahrain in the wet.
Yep, indeed. Very surprising thing to see. But yeah, the drivers have got to cope with it. I mean, it's the same situation for everybody, and I mean, we're gonna have to see who's the best in the rain today. Maybe some guys have actually practiced in the race. I mean, it was a bit predicted over the week, but it was more or less like 20% chance of rain, and maybe not that hard. But at the moment, yeah, it's really kicking off.
I mean, rain is something that you yourself are now going to potentially experience a little more of. I mean, being in ACE, obviously that is affected by live weather as well. So from a driver's perspective, if this weather had come yesterday, what sort of effect do you think it would have on yourself as a driver getting ready for the qualifying and the race?
Well, I think for me personally, I would have struggled a lot more. Of course, I'm not as experienced in FSR as the likes of Callas and Tom Sadley, who have driven multiple rain races already, and just have more experience in FSR generally. But well, yeah, maybe I mean, my pace was reasonably okay over the dry, but really, I don't think I can say with any certainty how I would have been in the rain.
I would have been bricking it. As simple as that. I would have been thinking, oh, great. But I mean, these guys, they're experienced. A few of them raced in the wet last season. I tell you what, I thought it was going to start drying up then, but it looks like the rain started falling a little bit heavier. This warm-up session now, 10 minutes long, this is crucial. This is it for the drivers. The opportunity to really test their cars with full fuel in these conditions, and hope to God that within 10 minutes it dries up.
Yeah, indeed. But I can't really get a clear image of this weather prediction. I'm trying to look at it, but it seems that chance of rain is dropping a little bit. It still says that it's a thunderstorm and about 21 degrees. But maybe in 20 minutes or so, that will change drastically. That's we're gonna have to wait for that, I guess. I mean, it's something that probably will change over the course of the race.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna try during this warm-up session to keep an eye on the corner that probably everybody hates, and that is turn 10, I believe it is. Sort of double left-hander, it's into a left-hand hairpin, because I think that corner in these conditions is going to be absolutely awful.
Yeah, I think I agree. Even in the dry, that corner is sometimes a pain in the, I won't say. But yeah, it's gonna be, like you said before, all the little things that maybe weren't that big of a deal in the dry are gonna be all put under a like a scope, and it's gonna be all more difficult overall. Alright, so we are just going to cut to a little commercial break, to say so. We will be back with you in about 5 minutes time. Warm-up session will then be close to finishing, and we will see then how the weather has progressed over the rest of the warm-up session, and how these drivers are coping with the wet conditions. So yeah, we will see you in about 5 minutes time.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play.
Yeah.
I'll race it for it.
Well, I have a hand.
Alright, so welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is again time to get ready for the race. The warm-up session has just ended. It is still raining. And I think it's about time to move to the race session. I will just quickly run you guys through the starting grid of the race. So we have got, let's see, we have got we've got Michael Francesconi on the pole position. Great lap, but they started with Martin Stefanko right behind him, and Johnny Simicic in third. Daniel Kiss right behind him in fourth. Prix fifth position, good qualifying for him as well. Liswa in sixth. Then George Mandosakis quite far up the grid. Daniel Brewer, of course, for Invictus Motorsports now. That goes a little bit too quick, unfortunately. But let's see, 11th place is gonna be Mohammed Patel. I think he will be a little bit disappointed in himself. Would have liked to be a little bit further up, I guess. Blair Disley in 12th position. 13th it is John Eric Saxon. In 14th it is what is it? Michael Francesconi. I think first position should have been Michele D'Alessandro. Something went wrong there. Then 15th Omar Rasol. 16th James Sadler. Also, I think not all too happy about his qualifying. Lars Bergman in 17th, Eros Mashuli in 18th, and Richie Hoyer in 19th. Christopher Raby rounding up the 20th position and our grid. Let's go quickly back to the live.
Well, I can tell you what, Felix, you got the imagery beautifully. You did get it right. You did put the Alessandro on pole. You just said the wrong name, so okay. I'll let you off on that one, and so should the viewers, because it's all new and it all looks fantastic. Hopefully it's something that will pick up a few followers over the course of the season. It does just mean that as a commentator you don't have to rattle through the names quite quickly. I can imagine you're going to be editing that piece of work to just run a little bit slower. Anyway, track conditions pretty much exactly the same as what it was in warm-up. It's full wet tyres for pretty much every driver. I will check that. Looking at the circuit through warm-up, quite a few drivers drifting around some of the corners, but to be fair, most of them seem to have got majority of the circuit dialed in now.
Yeah, I think the rain has stopped at the moment. Bright skies at the moment here in Bahrain. Oof, Jim Paris is almost running into the back of Daniel Kiss there. That was really quite close. Luckily, just avoided him. But yeah, it's all getting started, and I think we don't have anyone taking the risk of starting on intermediate tires. I think it's probably the wise choice.
We don't, but it's suddenly got very, very sunny, so I wouldn't be surprised if the track conditions could change massively in the opening laps of this race. Yeah,
indeed. I mean, it's 20 degrees outside, so maybe not the hottest, but it's still quite warm. And with 20 drivers on a track, it's gonna be bound to dry up reasonably quickly, especially with these full wet tires. They clear up the track quite quickly. But yeah, now everybody pulling into their grid slots. Michele D'Alessandro on that pole position. So the rest of the drivers pulling up right behind there. Christopher Raby now also pulling out of his pit.
Well, I'm sat down at turn 1 with my camera ready to catch if anything kicks off at the back end of the grid.
Yep. All ready to get going. So last car pulling into his pit slot. Let's see. Lights are coming on. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 lights and we are racing here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It seems to be a good start for Martin Stefanko. Michele D'Alessandro spinning his wheels a little bit in the wet here. And also Jurnej Simoncic around the outside coming into turn 1. Is he going to be able to make that move? No, he runs wide onto the AstroTurf there. Martin Stefanko is the one to win out on this start. And Michele D'Alessandro back to 3rd position.
I can't say that everybody got through cleanly. I did see a bit of debris left at turn 1. I'll try and find out who that might be.
Yep, Christopher Raby, of course, pulling out of the pit lane right now. Jim Paris is right next or behind Michele D'Alessandro. And I think I saw Camille Laiswa starting to challenge George Manusakis coming into the chicane.
Well, we've got Dan Brewer was coming under a little bit of pressure and a bit of contact slightly further behind. There was a little bit of a concertina effect into the first of the hairpins, or well, it's the second of the hairpins, but you know what I mean. These very difficult conditions for all of the drivers now. Braking zones are awkward, but also visibility ever so difficult for them at this moment in time.
He's going for a move coming into the long left-hander, overshot it there, almost made contact, I think. But losing a couple of positions there whilst doing quite an aggressive move here in the wet.
Ooh, I tell you what, these new cars from Blair Disley down, they're all twitching the rear ends in these tricky conditions. Giordano Valeriano coming under a little bit of pressure as well, as Lars Brugman is trying to get past him. May have a run down the start finish, but having said that, also, Mohamed Patel, who's gone from 11th to 10th on the opening lap, and he's going to try and gain another position now as he looks up the inside. He's got a good view of the corner, and it allows him to brake that a little bit later and get the move done.
Yep, indeed. Ooh, and there's a car spinning in the background. I think that's John-Eric Saxon. I believe so. Let's see. Yes, it was John-Eric Saxon. See him in the background there, spinning around in turn 1. Losing a position. I think also you see here Michi Hoyer right next to Michael Francesconi. Got the position coming into turn 4. Nice move. All sorts of action going on all over the place. Sorry if we miss anything. So very close between all these drivers at the moment. Martin Stefanko being the one that's pulling out a gap to Jurnej Simoncic at the moment. Almost 3 seconds in the lead now.
The advantage for Stefanko is that he has got a clear track ahead of him, so he's got perfect visibility, but also got beautiful, clean air ahead of him to make the most of the aerodynamics on these cars. So yeah, opening up a gap may not be too much of a problem, but he is going to have to keep an eye on Simoncic, because for a few of these drivers, these opening laps could just be sort of feeler laps, finding out where the grip is, where they can push, where they can't push.
Yes, exactly. I think you're absolutely right there. So let's see who's gonna go for a move. Michi Hoyer is right up the back of Lars Brugman there. Of course, Vopu Racing is a new team here in Formula Sim Racing. They have their sister team VB Medcape already driving for a couple of seasons, but it's nice to see some new names. Of course, also we have Invictus Racing. Or Victus Motorsports, I should say. Oh, as I say that, Lars Brugman takes a little look on the inside of Giordano Valeriano, decides not to go for it. Giordano taking a bit of a wider line into turn 1. Now turn 2 is going to be for Lars Brugman. Let's go on board. Here we go. A little bit tight there. Not leaving any room for Lars Brugman there. Giordano Valeriano, of course, he has all the right to do so. Also right behind him, it is still Michi Hoyer as well. Oh, here we go, coming into the hairpin. Very nice move there from Lars Brugman. I think Giordano Valeriano definitely didn't expect that. And now he needs to watch out also for his teammate, Michael Francesconi.
Yeah, well, Francesconi took a full advantage there. I think with Valeriano being slightly out of position, it put Michi Hoyer out of position, and Francesconi says, I'll have some of that, thank you very much. And Francesconi is going to attack his teammate, is he? He's having a look. He's going to think better of it, wait for a better part of the track.
Yep. It's a tricky overtaking spot here through these corners, especially with these wet tires. Not the most of grip, of course. Now, this right-hander is quite tricky, especially on the braking. Sometimes if you miss the apex and you run wide, there's a sneaky anti-cut there on the right. You can see it a little bit, but if you run over it, you fly high in the sky. Let's say it like that. But Michael Francesconi indeed very close to the back of his teammate now. And also right behind that, Russell is putting some pressure on Michi Hoyer.
Dan Brewer's going for the move. He's made the move past Manasakis down the straight. Risto Capit had a look at that as well, but wasn't able to follow Brewer through. But that's Brewer now up to 6th place. And he's got Daniel Kiss about a second and a half ahead of him.
Yes, indeed. Seems that the gap between Stefanko and Simoncic has stabilized a little bit more. Around that 3-second mark at the moment. Track, of course, is now drying up more and more every lap.
Omar Russell and James Sadler were side by side heading up towards turn 4, with Omar just managing to hold on to that position, making the Invictus car. No, he's losing it. He's just kept it on the track. That's going to give Sadler an opportunity. No, can't take advantage.
No, indeed. Just lost that little bit of grip there. Sadler, wasn't really much room for him to go anywhere. Now Sadler needs to watch out for Eros Mashouli.
I think Blair Disley may have just had a bit of a tank slapper, but I'm having a look at Mohammed Patel and George Manasakis. Manasakis coming under a lot of pressure, and it was Blair Disley that got very sideways. He's now got Lars Brugman all over the back of him. But yeah, Risto Cappi under a lot of pressure as Patel having a look on the inside of the penultimate corner. Can't quite get it done though, but he's going to be fighting him down towards the final corner in turn 1.
Yes, here we go, coming up to that last corner. Patel, let's take a look at the top speeds of these guys. At the moment, Patel has a top speed of 319 and Risto Kappas has a top speed of 329.6. So quite a lot more top speed for Risto Kappas, and you can see it. Mohammed Patel struggling to get anywhere close before turn 1. Locks up his brake coming into that first corner, but not really anything he can do at the moment.
No, Michi Hoyer tried having a look at Giordano Valeriano. Wasn't quite able to do it. I mean, these cars in Slipstream are phenomenally quick, but as soon as you pull out of that Slipstream, your car gets hit with all of the dirty air. It's less dirty than being right behind them, but your car doesn't go as quick, and a few drivers finding out once they pull out, they can't quite get far enough ahead to make the move.
Yes, indeed. Michi now looking very strong on the back of Giordano Valeriano. Of course, it's also going to be the question now, who's going to pit first for the intermediate tires? Of course, few of the cars now have refueling as well. So, is anyone going to go for a earlier stop and go to the intermediate tires, maybe drive with a little bit of a heavier car with that? Or are guys going to run basically just empty their tank and then go for the intermediates, or maybe even a dry compound?
Well, Jurni Simoncic is searching for damper parts of the circuit already. It's interesting you mentioned about the fuel, though, as Risto Kappa all over the back of George Manasakis. Because as a driver, at the start, you've no idea how long you're going to be on these wet tyres for. So you can't say, 10 laps worth of fuel. So you've got to try and gamble it, work it out. So I don't know. I mean, some drivers may think I'll just put as much fuel in as I can and see what happens. Here we go then, Capit making the move on Manasakis into turn 1, but no, on the damper part of the track, can't get it slowed down. So yeah, there's going to be some mathematics going on for the race engineers in these conditions, and it's a conversation the drivers surely will have had with their race engineers about what to do with fuel.
Here we go, Patel taking a look up turn 4. Oh, there's contact with him and Capet. Luckily nobody spinning around, but Patel definitely losing a wing end plate there. A bit of an aggressive move there from Patel. Luckily, as I said, no real incident or no real damage done for those drivers, only a wing end plate loss for Patel.
Yeah, I think we're getting very, very close to intermediate tyres now. There's definitely a drier line appearing. It's a case of who's going to make that gamble.
Yes, indeed. See Michi Hoyer, is he already able to get past Valeriano? No, not yet. Struggling on grip a little bit on the exit there of the left-hander hairpin.
We do have 2 drivers on the intermediate tyres.
Ooh, yeah, Masciuli and John-Eric Saxon went into the pit lane. Masciuli taking a gamble there. Of course, one of the Twister drivers. Back in FSR now. Seems to be sliding around quite a lot. Keep an eye out on his sector times though. So Daniel Kiss right behind, is it Jim Paris is here. He's not able to get past. Top speed of Daniel Kiss 327. But I believe that VB Madcape top speed and Vopu Racing as well, their sister team, is just too high for anyone to get past really. At least on the straights.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of these cars as well. Without having DRS, if you have got a good straight line speed, it is a good defensive tool. It just means getting through the corners is going to be a little trickier.
Michi Hoyer finally got past Giordano Valeriano. Let's see if I can get a quick replay of that overtake. Let's see. So here we go, coming into turn 1. Michi outbraked on the wetter line. Giordano sliding a little bit, small contact there between their front wheels, but no major contact. And nice move, I can say, from Michi Hoyer there.
Well, if any of the engineers are looking at the live timing on Race View, they may be giving a quick shout to their drivers saying it's time. And I think they would be right to do so. Whether anyone's going to do it, we'll soon find out. Let's see, Stefanko, he's the race leader at the moment, and he's not going for the pit lane.
No, not yet. Aris Masciuli just set the purple first sector, so definitely looking strong on those intermediate tires.
D'Alessandro's got a run on Jurni Simoncic heading towards turn 1. It doesn't even attempt to move. Obviously, the wetter part of the track is not somewhere he wants to go at this moment in time. So he's going to have to hold position. Risto Capit and Parisis are battling.
Yeah, Jim Parisis is into the pit lane.
My apologies, I just spotted that.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see, he's going to the intermediate tires indeed. So he is taking that, maybe not gamble, but at risk. But I've got to say, Eros Masciuli is flying on his set of intermediates. Purple sector 2 as well. He's probably going for the fastest lap of the race at the moment. Ooh, there has been some contact somewhere. Let's see what happened. I heard something, but Can't really tell what. So let's switch back to the battle with Michele D'Alessandro and Jonas Simocic. Battle for second position.
Now these guys continuing on the full wet tyre, even if it is ready for the intermediates, could all be to do with fuel relation and strategy.
Yes, indeed, you saw Michele D'Alessandro there running a little bit wide on the exit of the right-hander and then immediately losing grip on the wetter part of the track. And indeed, Eros Masciuli last lap, 1:37.7, that is...
Race leader into the pits, sorry.
No problem. That was basically 1.2 seconds quicker than Martin Stefanko did last lap. And Stefanko reacts immediately by going into the pit lane and probably putting on some intermediate tires. The rest stays out. Simocic and D'Alessandro stay out. Daniel Kiss as well. Daniel Brewer, Manusakis as well. So seems to be just Stefanko and his teammate Michi Hoyer as well into the pit lane now. So Patel and Camille Laizwa getting pretty close to each other now. Not far behind them it is Lars Brugman. New name in FSR here. Stefanko rejoined in 10th place. Right behind Michael Francesconi. So very interesting to see what he can do in his new set of Inters.
I've got a question for you, Felix. I mean, I haven't driven these cars in wet conditions. I've done no testing on the wet tyres, the intermediate tyres or anything like that. But is there any possibility of a driver going from full wet tyre to slicks?
Yeah, I think so. You can definitely see a dry line forming now. And most of the times, the dry line, I think maybe now already even, it's a bit soon, but the dry line itself can be driven on with slick tires, but once you go only half a meter off that dry line,
Simocic and D'Alessandro side by side down the start finish. D'Alessandro on the damp side, and as I mentioned, as soon as you pull out of that slipstream, the speed's not there anymore.
Yes, indeed, slipstream very powerful, but outside it's not that powerful anymore. So top speed really is going to be something crucial this season. But, here we go, coming up to turn 4, they make a little bit of contact. And there's a wing end plate again lost for Michele D'Alessandro. Maybe even some suspension damage for Jonas Simocic. D'Alessandro just seemed to miscalculate that braking point of Simocic a little bit. Coming through the hairpin. Down to turn 9. Braking zone. Giordano Valeriano pulled into the pit lane. And Omar Rasol and Giordano Valeriano are on the option tires.
Did you say option tyres? Stefanko, he's on the back of, let's see, Francesconi. That's intermediate tyre versus wet tyre. That's going to be a move that will be happening fairly soon, I think. But yeah, Valeriano has gone to the option tyre. Well, it's not going to work though, as he goes straight on at turn 4.
Yeah, he's losing a lot of grip. As I said, probably on the dry line it's drivable. Definitely, but once you go only half a meter off that dry line, you are... Yeah, you see it. You see that he just gets one wheel on that wet part and he loses so much grip. Now battling with John Eric Saxon. Oh no, that's Christopher Raby. But definitely, probably the wrong strategy choice if you ask me. Omar Rasol, same thing, spun around at turn 8 or turn 9. Let's see.
Oh, Simocic made a bit of a mistake at turn 1. That's allowed D'Alessandro through. I don't know if he went a little bit deep, got onto the slightly too wetter part of the track for these tyres, but that allowed D'Alessandro to sneak into first place. And the incident between D'Alessandro and Simocic on the previous lap has allowed Kiss to get in on this battle as well.
Yes, indeed. Very close behind Jonas Simocic now. I'll just wait for a replay, or wait to show a replay, because Maybe something will happen here coming into the turn 9, the long hairpin, or the left hairpin. Go Daniel Kiss on the power. Has he got enough speed or slipstream to get close to Michele or Jurnej Simonic? No, not really. So let's see if I can get a real quick replay of that move by Jurnej Simonic. So D'Alessandro on the backs on the main straight. Seemed that Jurnej just outbraked himself, got onto the wet part of the circuit, and D'Alessandro taking full advantage of that. And now,
So go on.
yeah, take 2 now basically. Daniel Kiss now right behind Jurnej Simonic. Let's see what he can do. Slipstream seems to be quite powerful for Daniel Kiss. It's gonna be enough. No, not really. Simonic is braking late here. Does make it through turn 1 very nicely. Now Daniel Kiss struggling a little bit on traction there through turn 2.
Oh, we've just had it's not a massive crash, but it's a big enough crash to mention it. George Manasakis, he lost it on the option tyres, and as he spun it back round onto the track, I could hear a car coming, and they did, and I think it may have been Christopher Raby that hit the back of him.
Alright, let's have the replay of that. He was already off track and then rejoined the track. Let's see what happened. Christopher Raby, yeah! Oh. Christopher Raby was just coming through that corner. Let's go back and watch that again from the standpoint of Christopher Raby, if we can. From his view, he really probably was too late to see George coming. And really unfortunate accident there. Losing his front wing there, Christopher Raby, and George Manasakis losing both of them.
Simonic and Kiss very, very close together as a car ahead on options. It's a back mark, has gone well off the track. I think that's Omar Rasol, it is, and the drivers have had to avoid him. That's his teammate Daniel Brewer that's catching him now on the full wet tyre. Yeah, slicks just are not working.
No, definitely not. Right, let's see. Oh, Simonic has a little bit of wheel spin there on the exit of the last corner. Now Daniel Kiss, does he have enough top speed this time? He decides to go for cooling his tires instead of going for the overtake. Patel, by the way, and Lars Brugman into the pit lane. What will they do? Will they go for the option tire, or will they go for intermediates?
Brugman's gone options. I don't know if it's a wise choice. Everybody that's gone options has had problems. Patel looks like he's gone options as well. And while all this has been happening, Stefanko, love him or hate him, he put the inters on quite a while ago, and he is about to pass Rasol and lap him. He's only 9 seconds off the lead. I mean, he had quite a lead already, but he's been just avoiding all of the carnage that's been kicking off the last few laps and trying to make these inters work. I'll have a look at his lap times and see how they've compared.
Yeah, Brugman just rejoining in front of Michi Hoyer, who is also on the intermediate tires, just like Martin Stefanko, his teammate. Let's see what Michi can do here, if he can do anything on the back of Lars Brugman. You can see already Lars is pulling away quite quickly. You can just visually see he's so much quicker under the brakes, under the steering than Michi Hoyer. So maybe it is the time now to go to those slick tires, but I still stand quite clearly with, if you go onto the wet part of the circuit on your slick tires, you're gonna be basically swimming in a big swimming pool and aquaplaning all over the place.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Stefanko's last few laps have been 1:39s. I'll check what this lap is going to be. D'Alessandro. So
if you want to cut you there, Daniel Kiss coming for the pass on Jurnej Simonic this time. Braking for turn 1. Let's see. They leave each other just enough space, but it is Daniel Kiss in front coming through turn 2. Is there going to be anything that Jurnej can do now coming up to the turn 4 straight? No, not really. So nice move there from the Musto driver, putting himself up to second position.
Okay, Stefanko has got his best lap time now down into the 37s. D'Alessandro still on the full wet tyre is in the 38s, and Stefanko is already on the back of Camille Leiswer and Daniel Brewer, so we'll have to get ready for some action there. But it is very close, you know. I mean, Inters are still a little bit quicker than full wets. I'm going to have to wait for Patel to really get his laps going to see what he's going to be able to do.
Yes, indeed. So let's see Martin Stefanko right behind Camille Leiswer and Omar Rasol. Doesn't have a very nice exit out of that turn 9. Ooh, Camille went a little bit wide onto the wet part of the circuit, lost a lot of grip. Now side by side with Martin Stefanko. Ooh, just in front there, Camille Leiswer taking or keeping his position. Martin Stefanko maybe doing the wise thing by backing out of that.
Patel does have a purple sector, sector 1.
Ooh, that's quite nice, and quite a bit compared to Michele D'Alessandro as well. Almost a second quicker in only the first sector.
Oh, he's on the back of Eros Masciuli, who is on intermediate tyres. If he's going to go for this move, it's going to be difficult on the slippery part of the track. And you know what? I think Masciuli's just sort of gone, it's all right, you go.
Yeah. Of course, they are sister teammates, so maybe a little bit of kind of team orders coming into play there. But
Risto Capet, sorry, about to make a move on James Sadler, is it? Yes, side by side, wet tyres on James Sadler's car, and Risto on the intermediate tyres. Both of them very twitchy, little bit of contact. That's going to allow Mohamed Patel to catch up a little bit more on the option tyre.
Yes, indeed, and the interesting thing that has happened, Martin Stefanko and Michi Hoyer both have pitted, and I think both are going to the dry tires, the option tires. So they basically did a pit stop more than most of these guys arriving at the front. Not the best strategy call from the ACR teams, I guess.
No, I mean, to put it into perspective, Brewer, I believe, has only made the one stop, and he's ahead of Stefanko now, so they're battling for position.
Yeah. So Patel really close to Journey Simoncic, but can he pass him? Simoncic probably knows that he has a dry tire, but Patel doesn't dare to go onto that wet part of the circuit, so really difficult for the guys on the dry tires now to get past these guys. Let's go, he's looking for a spot there, coming through the right-hander, and he has managed to get past around the outside of Journey Simoncic. Very, very nice move from Mohamed Patel.
Not sure that was Simoncic, because Simoncic has just driven into the pits.
Oh, then that was James Sadler, sorry. Same team.
That's all right, yeah, same team. The leading 3 cars have all made a pit stop then. That's all going to be for the option tyre. It is. Daniel Kiss is definitely on the options. This is going to get interesting, folks.
Definitely, this is going to be very interesting. A lot of these guys now switching to the drier tires. I'm just going to take a quick look at the weather forecast. I believe it is not really a lot of chance of rain again in the coming stages of this race. So, looks to be a dry race for the rest of the race. But, I don't know. Anything can still happen, I guess.
I tell you what, Mohamed Patel, he's played a blinder because Michele D'Alessandro has come out behind him and he was effectively the race leader. So, Mohamed Patel is now net race leader. All the cars ahead of him are on either intermediates or wets.
Right, so here we go. He's gonna do the same that he did to James Sadler a lap ago. You can see the dry line has widened a little bit. It's getting wider and wider every lap. Let's see, coming into that left-hander now. Patel onto the power. No, not a real big gap for him to go through this time. Of course, what is it? Capet is on that intermediate tire. Now he makes a mistake coming into the second to the last corner. Patel needs to go onto the wet part, and he almost spins there on the exit of the second to last corner. Very close there, and now loses the position once again to Eros Masciuli. Michele D'Alessandro also was spun around there. Don't know what happened to him. Maybe even the same thing that happened to Patel.
Well, I couldn't help you out with that one. I was watching a little bit further down the order. I was watching Daniel Kiss have a bit of a problem, and he's had another problem. He's ran wide at the final corner. I'm wondering if he may have a little bit of damage on his car. I'll try and find out.
Yeah, you do that. In the meantime, Camille Laizwa has come into the pit, as did his teammate Blair Disley. So I think most of these guys now are on either the option, and interesting to say, Jonas Simoncic is on the prime tire.
Yeah, I had spotted that. Whether it's going to work for him or not, I don't know. In these tricky conditions, I think most drivers have just gone for lower fuel, maybe more grip. But perhaps some drivers will prefer one tyre compound over the other, and there is only 2 tyre compounds for the whole of the season.
Let's see though, Mohammed Patel now really close to Aras Mashouli. This is for a podium coming through turn now. Aras is still on the intermediate tyres, of course. We've seen now already one great overtake from Patel. Here we go along the back straight. Needs to go on to the wet part again a little bit with his right wheels. But he has gotten past there very nicely. Ooh, and Mashouli runs wide once again. Now on to the wet part of the circuit. And that allows a lot of guys to get past. Including Michele D'Alessandro. Well, only Michele D'Alessandro, his teammate.
Yep, and while that was happening, Daniel Kiss is struggling out there. He's just had another off at turn 10. He was very close to the back of other cars, but he's just dipping a wheel too much on the damn bit or clipping a few curbs and sending the car around. Yep,
Daniel Brewer now also quite close to the back of Camille Laizwa. Laizwa just made his pit stop. He did it right. I thought he just did his pit stop. He's on the intermediate tires at the moment. Yes, he did just do his pit stop. That's an interesting choice to go to the intermediates now. Because I mean, it's pretty clear that the dry tires are almost 2 seconds a lap quicker.
Yeah, well, you'd have to say yes. But on the other hand, if a driver is struggling with the setup of his car for grip on the track, if he feels that the dry tyre is not for him, they may be quicker on the intermediate tyre. They won't be as quick as everybody else.
So the undercut you there, Patel really close to Risto Capet. This is turn 2. He made a little bit of contact with the rear wheels of Capet there, coming through the right hairpin. Now coming through the back straight. He just did the move on Mashouli here a lap ago. It's again so clear that the VB Madcape car, or the Votpu racing car, sorry, has so much more so much more top speed. Mohammed looking to who's there off track. It's either Christopher Raby or his teammate Jordan Eric Sexton. But Mohammed Patel just has so much more grip in the corners. Let's see what he can do. Is he gonna put it around the outside? It's really not a lot of room given there by Risto Capet. Now onto the straight. We know he has the straight line speed. Let's see what Patel can do. Now he needs to go on to the wet bit of the circuit, and I don't think he has got it. No, indeed, you can see Risto Capet just pulling away with that top speed. And Patel, I don't think, no, he's not daring to brake on that wet part of the circuit. He's gonna...
Stefanko and Simoncic. No, it's alright, carry on.
He's gonna have to do it on in a corner part of the circuit, or on the exit of some corner. Here we go. Here we go. Patel coming into turn 4. Again, under braking, he just doesn't have the grip. A little bit of contact once again. Needs to watch out for his teammate Michele D'Alessandro. Is he going to try it around the outside, coming through the chicane? No, not really. A really interesting battle here. And Mohammed Patel looking very, very feisty.
Well, if these guys can't get past him while he's on the intermediate tyre, we're going to end up with a 6-car battle for the lead, headed by a car on the inters.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be very close. And his teammate, Lars Brugman, also right behind Michele D'Alessandro now.
Well, Camille Lies was still running in 9th place at the moment. He's still on the intermediate tyre. Daniel Kiss is catching him now. I think he's trying to get those options working.
He's going to do the same as on Sadler around the outside. Is he going to make it stick? No, too much on the wet. And that allows Michele D'Alessandro and also Lars Brugman to get past him. Patel maybe a little bit too aggressive there, but well, I don't blame him. I mean, it's the only way you can get past people here at the moment. Now, D'Alessandro, is he gonna do anything? No. Capet is pulling into the pit lane now. Brugman, however, has got that great top speed from the Votpu car. Is he gonna be able to get past D'Alessandro? No, D'Alessandro actually has quite a lot of top speed as well. Going side by side into turn 1. Patel also joining into the battle. Patel got the position there from Lars Brugman. And Patel now again looking forward into the back of Michele D'Alessandro.
That was a lovely bit of driving from Mohamed Patel. I was riding on board with him and he was picking which driver to follow, and he followed Brugman and then realised, you know what, there's a nice big open space over there and I'm going to go for it, and go for it he did. But here comes Brugman now looking up the inside. No, he's not going to go for it there, and you don't want to. It's going to be horribly slippy.
Yes, indeed. It is very tricky circumstances still, and we're not even halfway through this race. Although I have to say these first 20 laps flew by. And I think Mohamed Patel is now going past Michele D'Alessandro even before the end of the straight has gone past. And oh, here we go. It's starting to drizzle again.
Oh, you beauty. Oh, my days. Oh, the drivers are going to hate this. You know what? You know who I feel sorry for? Capit. He had just pitted to get rid of the intermediate tyre. And what tyres does he put on?
The options.
He's going to have to make another pit stop. While you're watching that battle at the front, there is also another bit of a ding-dong battle going on as well, and that is with Capit, Masciuli, Hoyer. But with this weather coming in hard now as it is, it's really, really raining. They've got to go for the pit soon. Yeah, Capit, he's ran wide. That's given Masciuli a look, but there may be more kicking off up at the front.
D'Alessandro and Jim Paresis made that choice, and also Lars Brugman made the choice to stay out on track. Of course, Camille Leiswa may be happy with himself now. Maybe he knew a little bit more about the weather forecast, because he is still on those intermediate tyres, and I think he's going to be something you really need to watch now. Let's see, pit lane is very, very busy. Daniel Brewer seems to be the one to pull out pretty quickly. Patel in front of Jurnej Simoncic still. He's on the full wet tyre, Simoncic as well. Brewer is on the intermediate tyre, Daniel Kiss is on the full wet. Stefanko has been in his pit box for very long, and Michi Hoyer now has to pull up right behind him to also get a chance. And what is happening to Stefanko? Stefanko stalled his engine.
He has got some major problem there. Most drivers have gone for the full wet tyre. Risto Capit feels even more sorry for him because he ended up in his pit box sideways. Stefanko, I think he overshot it or didn't go far enough into his pit box to get surfaced, but he's stationary still. Yeah,
his engine is not running as well. Seems that either he stalled his engine. I don't know if we can get it. Lars Brugman, big drift there through the the corner right before the second to last corner.
Camille Leiswa just did an even bigger one, and it ended up off the track, and he's on intermediate tyres. Francesconi, he's ended up off track as well on the option tyres yet. Slicks are not going to work in these conditions. I'm not even sure intermediates will.
Yeah, I don't know either. Jim Paresis is into the pit lane, Lars Brugman as well, of course. What is D'Alessandro doing? Is he also coming in? Yes, he's also coming in. Of course, no big surprises there. And guess who is leading the race now? It is Camille Leiswa right in front of Jim Paresis. Jim is on the full wet tyres though, and you can see Leiswa struggling on the intermediates.
Wow, this has taken a bit of a turn, hasn't it?
It's thrown everything apart.
Yeah, Stefanko, he is now out of this race.
Let's see if I can still get a quick replay of that incident with him. I mean, I just don't understand what happened.
Okay, I may have to shout at you if there's going to be a move for the lead. Camille Leiswa, he was on the inters from 5 laps ago, so he timed that quite nicely.
Let's see, it's even further back. Even further back, it's really long back for Stefanko. Right, coming into his pit box, let's go on board. He stopped in his pit box, first gear. And then it took a little bit of a while to get going for him. And then the engine just gone.
Move for the lead is happening into the end of what most people would call the second DRS straight, but we don't have DRS, so Jim Paresis easily into the lead now on the full wet tyre.
Yeah, I can get a quick replay of that. But I have to say, it is a very, very strange thing that happened to Martin Stefanko there. It seems that either his engine died or he stalled or something else happened, technical difficulty or something, but very strange. But here we go. This is not the replay I want to see. This is, here we go. So Jim Paresis on the back straight indeed, coming down the inside of Camille Lizois. Yeah, nice move there from Prix. Lizois struggling a little bit on grip on the outside of that corner.
Well, the field has got quite spread out now. Closest battle up near the front is sort of it's D'Alessandro and Brugman, a couple of seconds between them, and then Brewer and Kiss, a couple of seconds between them. Although saying that, Valeriano and Capit, they're very, very close.
Yeah, indeed. Coming through the second to last corner now, Capit looking a little bit unstable on the rear. Of course, we know the the Vopu cars have quite a lot of top speed. Let's see what he can do compared to this Netrex car. And not really a good exit out of that last corner, and Giordano at the moment staying in front. So Mohamed Patel has managed to get back up to that podium position after the pit stops everyone made for their wet tires. Now I'm gonna see if I can get a weather forecast update again to see if it's gonna be changing anytime soon. So at the moment 66% of rain. That's gonna change in about half an hour or something. Or no, that's only until an hour. So at the moment it seems that it's gonna be stuck at rain for now, but who knows what's gonna change.
Yeah, as we've already seen, it can dry quite quick and it can get wet very quickly. We've got 33 laps remaining in this race. Brugman looks like he is catching up to D'Alessandro, and I will try and find out what happened to Stefanko. There's a few rumours and reports, but I'll see if I can find out from himself what happened.
Yeah, you do that, and Capit and Valeriano are also still going at it, I believe, coming down the basically last straight before the pit straight. So coming out of the last corner now, can Risto Capit again drifting through that last corner. It seems that the car of Valeriano is just way more stable on the rear, at least out of the exit of the corners. So Lizois dropping down the order a little bit. Oh, he even got passed by Patel already. I missed that. Let's get a quick replay of what happened there. So it was it in a corner again, or was it in the back straight or under the braking? Lizois, of course, on those Inters still. Inters probably, yep. It's on the exit of the corner. Camille lost the grip there, and Patel got past quite easily.
Well, for someone that was in Camille's situation where he'd not long pitted for the intermediate tyre, it kind of makes sense to stay on them. But you have to make that call straight away. Stay on them and lose time compared to pitting and losing that amount of time. That's what you have to balance up. That's what your engineer's for.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see the lap times of Mohamed and Prix. At the moment they're about the same pace. So I wonder how long is it gonna take, or if Mohamed Patel is even gonna close that gap between him and Jim Prix.
Well, I don't think we've had, from all of my commentary I did last year, I don't think we had so many different leaders in one race.
No. I think after the race, when the results get uploaded up to the GP Calls website, there are some fun statistics there always. The lead change amount of numbers is probably going to be an all-time record. I mean, it's going crazy at the moment.
Lizois has made a pit stop eventually. And I would guess that would be for the full wet tyre. Yes, it is. He's come back out in 9th place. Let's see. D'Alessandro looking a little bit twitchy as Brugman's catching up to the back of him. Oh, nearly loses it on the exit. That'll have got his heart racing a little bit if the weather already hadn't. But yeah, battle for 3rd place definitely on the cards. And Mohammed Patel is gaining on Paris a little by little.
Brugman seems to be closing in a little bit here to the last sector on Michele D'Alessandro. Let's see what Lars can do. However, here on the back straight, Michele a lot of oversteer. Lars Brugman a little bit less, but not able to close that gap in really by a lot at the moment.
Brugman's catching quick though. He's on. I mean, in these conditions, it's difficult to drive in these conditions as it is. But if you've got a guy right behind you who's trying to take your position, it's going to be even more difficult. Brugman though, his rear end is so twitchy, he can't get the power down to try and gain any advantage. But yeah, who's that heading into the pits? That's Brewer getting rid of the intermediate tyre.
Yep, to be expected, of course. As we said, intermediate probably really not having a lot of grip at the moment. Let's see what Brugman can do. He looks quick, but can he get past Michele D'Alessandro? Moment, not yet. So let's see, Kamalajswa and Eros Mashuli also pretty close. This one of course just pitted for that new wet tires, and it seems that the sun is coming through a little bit more. Might be just me.
It could just be hopeful you, Felix.
Mashuli makes the mistake. Camille almost made some contact there. Had to avoid that little bit to not hit Mashuli, but this one looking strong on his wet tires now as well.
Brugman very nearly lost it on the exit of the final corner. There is also a bit of a battle. Valeriano, Capit, Hoyer, Francesconi, all very close to each other, but Hoyer struggling a little bit in these conditions. It may look like it's getting sunnier, but it's definitely treacherous out there at the moment. Looking at the clouds, it does look like there's a bit of clear sky in the distance, but whether it's going to get to the track in time for these guys, I do not know.
Michael Francesconi, a little bit of understeer there coming through the last corner. Now snappy oversteer on the exit. Let's see. It seems that Risto Capet has got some work to do with Giordano Valeriano coming into turn 1. Who's going to be the one exiting turn 1 as first? Here we go. Capet not able to turn in. And it seems that Giordano keeps that position for now. But Michi Hoyer looking to make an attack on Risto Capet. Here we go, coming into turn 4, outside, inside. Michi doesn't really know where to go. Not a lot of space there for him. He's going to try it around the outside. No, not enough grip on the outside there. So now coming through the chicane. Looks reasonably okay.
I was just having a look at some of the lap times from a few of the leaders. Lap times at the moment in the 1:45s, which is considerably slower to what the drivers were doing in the early stages of the race in wet conditions. We were looking at 45s getting quicker. But yeah, at this moment in time, 45s is about what they're capable of. Patel, he's catching Paris every lap, and then every now and again dropping too much time to really make an overall gain.
Yeah. Indeed, now we're just past the halfway mark now, so it's still quite a long time to go for these drivers. It's all gonna be well, to see still what's going to happen. I mean, There's been happening so much so far in the first half, and I really can't say anything about predictions for the second half so far.
Predictions are, there are no predictions.
Yes, exactly. Oh, still this battle for 4 guys going on quite fierce. Moment though, no real attempts from anyone coming into turn 1.
Now, a few people might be wondering why drivers aren't just trying to chuck the car up the inside of a corner and gamble a move. Well, look at how much they're twitching around in these conditions as it is. You go chucking it up the inside, lock a wheel, you can end up taking yourself and the other car off the circuit. But Hoyer is getting a little bit closer to Risto Capit, who is pushing in hard, just not hard enough to get ahead of Valeriano.
Yes, indeed. Looks to have a reasonably okay exit out of the hairpin there. Now getting closer and closer bit by bit. But is it going to be enough for the main straight? And somebody went straight there. Yeah, Michael Francesconi missing the braking point a little bit there for the left-hander. That put the pressure off Michi Hoyer a little bit, so he can maybe focus a little bit more on trying to attack Risto Capit and Giordano Valeriano a bit more.
Hoyer's really close this time. He's gone a little too deep into the final corner though. That's compromised him on the exit. He's not going to be able to have a run on Capit towards turn 1. I've been keeping an eye on Simoncic and D'Alessandro up at the front, and they've been sort of holding about a second apart with Brugman trying to apply pressure, but every time he gets close he's losing the rear end of the car. Valeriano and Capit, this is the closest battle, although a little further down there is Sadler and Brewer also having a little bit of a ding-dong fight back there.
Yep, having their own little fight. Let's just take a little look. Brewer looks to be quite close to the back of James Sadler. Somebody in the chat asking which is the correct server for live timing. Should be a link in the description. It's the first link actually that's there. Live timing, and then you've got HTTP and then www.raceview.nl. So you can see all the live timing there. Brewer trying to put some pressure on James Sadler, but not being so successful at the moment.
Oh, Brugman is right on the back of D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro had a poor final corner, so heading down to turn 1, Brugman was close. He almost hit the back of him between turn 1 and 2. But as I mentioned, every time Brugman's got close, he's lost the rear end as he is doing now. So he's gaining on him and then losing, and gaining and losing. And so it's going to be a very frustrating race for him at the moment, because he knows he's got the speed to catch up, but once he does, he's struggling like crazy, especially at the next 2 left-handers. That's where he's been suffering the most.
Yep. Journey Simoncic there making a mistake coming into turn 9. That allows Michele D'Alessandro to maybe attack him here down the back straight. No, not yet. So lucky for Journey that he can keep it together. But definitely seems that he's struggling a little bit here in the wet conditions.
Well, I think everybody is struggling in these wet conditions. I mean, I mentioned a little while ago about the sort of lap times that Prix was doing up at the front. It's still in the 45, so I think the track is kind of at that condition where it's just, I wouldn't say too wet. It's never too wet unless you've got a monsoon and you need Wellingtons just to walk across the circuit. But yeah, a little bit drier, it'd be a lot faster for the drivers, which is obvious really, but these conditions at the moment, very, very tricky, very slippery, as Brugman having a look but can't do anything about D'Alessandro. But again, he gets close. D'Alessandro losing the rear end. Brugman loses the rear end a little bit. That's how treacherous it is out there.
Not finding a way past Michele D'Alessandro just yet is Lars Brugman, but you see that he's just a little bit more quick on the wet tires here at the moment. Maybe also fuel related, of course. We can't really see that, but who knows? Maybe got 20 liters less.
Yeah, I mean, that's obvious as well. I mean, Brugman close again, there goes the rear end again. I mean, people might sit there and think, oh, it'd be really cool if we could tell how much fuel people have got on the car. As a driver, no. I don't want anybody knowing how much fuel I've got in my car, and I'm pretty sure no other driver does, because it's part of your advantage, it's part of your strategy. Having someone sitting there going, are you quick because you haven't got a lot of fuel on, or are you just quick?
Ooh, there's been some contact, I think, between Brewer and Sadler. Seems that Brewer is driving without a front wing. What happened between those two guys? Let's grab a replay of that. Sadler, Brewer were battling quite hard. Let's see if we can catch on to that from the beginning of the battle. So here we go. We're coming down the just the back straight.
Oh, D'Alessandro, he's got an opportunity to go past Simoncic, and he's going to try around the outside into turn one, but no, Simoncic hard on the brakes, manages to hold on to the position at the moment, side by side to turn two, and Simoncic stays ahead, but I think D'Alessandro will have a run up to turn four. No, a little too wiggly on the exit. Sorry to shout over you there, Felix, but that just got a little bit exciting.
Very, very nice battle there for the podium, of course. And D'Alessandro is probably not gonna give up on that anytime soon. Lars Brugman is also still looking to maybe grab a podium here on his debut in the World Championship Series. Alright, so rain is still falling down. So the track is not really drying up just yet. And again a mistake there from Journey Simoncic. This time though, is Michele D'Alessandro able to make that pass? No, the exit of the corner, even though Journey almost spun into the corner, just is so much better than Michele D'Alessandro's exit.
Well, that's the kind of thing that if I'd have tried doing that, I'd have ended up in the medical centre.
Right, Brugman now also really getting a lot closer to the back of D'Alessandro out of this last corner. Who's going to be the one with the best exit? Who's going to be the one that's going to be going into turn one the first? D'Alessandro still has that little bit of a front wing damage from the beginning of the race.
I can tell you as well that for Stefanko, it does look like it was a stalled engine and it would not restart. That is why he wasn't able to get going again.
That's very unfortunate here in this first round of the 2017 season. Daniel Brewer is DNF after he, losing his front wing, decided to park the car.
Valeriano may have a run on... Capit may have a run on Valeriano. All depends on the exits of the final corner. Valeriano took actually quite a tight exit and it worked for him. Pulled out a nice little gap. It may be big enough of a gap to fend off Capit. Is Capit going to look up the inside? No, he can't. I like that from Valeriano. Completely different line on the exit of the final corner and it worked for him.
Yeah, however, is it going to work for him out of turn 3? Here we go, Risto Capit looking to make the move coming into turn 4. Here we go, side by side. Risto Capit braking ever so slightly later, but it's not enough coming through turn 4. And Giordano Valeriano still keeping his 9th position.
Simoncic, D'Alessandro and Brugman are ever so close. There's what? 5/10, 4/10 between the three of them.
Yep. Very close. You saw that Michi Hoyer almost making the move on Mr. Capet, trying to capitalize on the mistake Capet made. But let's see though. Lars Bergman again so close to the back of D'Alessandro, but his exit seems just that not very, very good. But D'Alessandro and Simoncic is basically the gap between the guys keeps about the same over the last couple of laps.
Well, I never really got a chance to ride on board with Simoncic to see if he did have damage from earlier on, so I will try and do that when he gets onto a straighter part of the circuit. Patel is closing in that gap to Paris again. It's now down to just over 7 seconds. But we're getting to that phase of the race where if drivers are going to have to stop again for fuel, are they going to change tyres? To what tyres? If it dries up, what are they going to do then? There's still so much to happen in this race.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we are still 23 laps away from the end of this race. And anything can still happen. Mohamed Patel is slowly, but he is catching up to the back of Jim Paris at the moment. Last lap was almost 6/10 quicker than Paris is. So showing that Patel has a little bit more pace in his wet tires at the moment. Maybe also a little bit less fuel. So we really don't know. It's all to see who's gonna stop the first.
Well, I went on board with Simoncic. I couldn't see a twisted wheel or anything like that, but that doesn't mean he might. And it's not to say, oh, D'Alessandro, he's gone. He's avoided the wall, but is that going to be Brugman into fourth? Yes, it is. Yep. As much as Brugman may want to overtake, I think he'll be happy with that one. He'll take that.
Yeah, definitely. D'Alessandro just did that little bit too soon on the power, trying to get the best exit as possible. And try and get past Simoncic. Just made that mistake. And of course, yeah, here in the wet, there's basically no room for mistakes, especially if you have competitors like Jurnej Simoncic and Lars Bergman, who are doing fabulously at the moment.
Risto Capit ever so close to Valeriano, but the car trying to throw him off the track at the final corner, and that's allowing Valeriano to pull away a little bit on the straight. But as Capit got
almost spun it into the wall again, sorry there.
Oh, Valeriano sideways through turn one. Are they going to be side by side? No, he manages to hold on to the position for the moment, but Capit, he's got the better line now, and ahead he goes, but he's going to be able to hold it into turn 4. Yes, he is, just about. Covers enough, but gets a bit twitchy in the corner. Here comes Valeriano. If there's a part of the track you don't want to be side by side in these conditions, it's this bit. Although for a few of the drivers, they won't want anybody anywhere near them at any point through the race. But yeah, Valeriano a little unlucky there, but Capit still within catching distance, and Leiswa is getting a little bit caught in on this as well.
Yeah, definitely.
He's going to get past, actually, because he's gone deep. He's gone deep into the corner. He's going to have to be careful coming back onto the track, and he has done. Oh, gets twitchy again, though, and manages to only lose the one position. He was very, very lucky there.
Also, I was just watching Michi Hoyer. He almost made a move around the outside of Giordano Valeriano coming into turn 9. Michi Hoyer looking very feisty here. I don't know, maybe a little bit too feisty, because he's struggling quite a lot at the moment. However, how long is Leiswa going to keep this position?
Well, Felix, I think we're in trouble with Miss Brugman getting past Simoncic.
What's up?
Well, Simoncic is still going, but I think it may have been a move down into turn 1.
Oh, really? Oh, indeed. Let's see on the replay quickly. Maybe want to keep an eye out on Michi Hoyer first. He's coming down pit straight now. Good slipstream on Giordano Valeriano. Is it going to be enough though? Under braking? No, not really. Maybe can do the switch back and try coming up to turn 4. Oh no, too much oversteer. Almost lost the car there and now has to give a position back to Michael Francesconi. In the back there you see also James Sadler making a mistake. Right, now let's get a quick replay of that overtake from Brugman on Journey Simocic. So they were coming down sector 2 and Simocic just made a mistake coming through the right-hander hairpin and Brugman just got past. Up to the podium he went there. Let's see if he can keep it there.
Well, at the moment, he's pulled out a 3-second gap. So yeah, he looks like he's on fire at the moment.
Michi Hoyer also really closing into Michael Francesconi now. Position he just lost. He is gonna be eager to get it back as soon as possible from the Networks driver.
I'm also keeping an eye on Pertel because he's got that gap now down to under 6 seconds. So Pertel maybe timing this one right for a fight towards the end. I mean, I'd love to know what fueled the rod, but after what I said earlier, I can't really mention that, can I?
And a funny thing to note as well, the rain has stopped a little bit again. But is it going to be for long? I mean, we've got 20 laps remaining. I'm pretty sure that it can dry up pretty quickly if it stays like this for the rest of the race. Richard again very twitchy on the exit of turn 1 and 2. Losing a lot of time there. The rain has indeed stopped, so now it is gonna be the question, who is gonna be the first one to either go into the pit, or who's gonna be the last one to go into the pit, and who's gonna be the one that's gonna be gaining from their decision.
Well, it's a tough situation to be in. That's why I'd rather be in the commentary box at this point than somebody's engineer. Because if they were saying to me, "What do I do?" the answer would be, "I don't know."
Yeah, I think the same goes for me. I wouldn't know what to do.
I mean, just to make it that a little more difficult, Jim Parisis's last 3 laps, 46.1, 46.0. Actually, I'll give his last 5 laps. 45.4, 45.2, 46.1, 46.0, 46.7.
Right. Something interesting to note. Eros Mashuli into the pit lane. He's going to the intermediate tires. He's the first one to pit. Let's see how he does on those intermediates. I think he was one of the first ones to pit also when the rain initially started or stopped raining at the beginning of the race. Let's see who or what will his time be.
It will be interesting, but here goes something else into it. I've just mentioned about Parisis's last 5 laps. Here is Patel's 44.8, 45.2, 45.6, 45.8, 44.8. So Patel's very happy on the wet tyre at the moment. Parisis, perhaps not so much.
Yeah, but maybe also fuel related that is. Because maybe Jim
definitely
just fueled his car to try and get to the end of the race, maybe even.
Or it could be the other way. If he's got a little bit less fuel in, he may be trying to say, Valeriano's just gone wide at the corner. We saw Leiswa go wide a little earlier. That's going to give Francesconi half an opportunity, but he's not close enough. And in the background, I'm not sure who that was. I think it was a back marker. But yeah, I'll tell you what.
That was Mashuli going off track with his new intermediate tires.
So that's how he's getting on then. Yeah, okay, if I'm an engineer, I'd see that and go, don't go inters. I don't know, ask me in a couple of minutes. I've seen someone go off, right, don't go on inters. But yeah, Valeriano, very, very lucky there. The gap between Patel and Parisis down to 4.5 seconds. Yeah, I was going to mention, if you've got a little less fuel on and you want to stretch it out a little bit, you're probably going to have to do quite a bit of lifting and coasting. But, I mean, the picking, I mentioned it early on. picking how much fuel to have in your car is very, very difficult. One option would be just to whack it full of fuel and hope for the best. It's an option. You could get to the end, but it'd all depend on what happens in the middle of the race.
Yeah, exactly. And there are a lot of things you cannot predict at the moment. Oh, Michi Hoyer's drifting through turn 1 there. Cue the Tokyo Drift tune. But it definitely won't be helping his tires and his times as well. But it is indeed very, very difficult in these conditions to decide what tire are you going to go to, what fuel load, especially what are you going to do? Are you going to go a quick stint maybe? But you don't know when it's going to stop raining. So yeah.
It is difficult. I mean, we've got a comment on YouTube from Riccardo Corazzari. It says, isn't it better to keep reins longer and shift directly onto slicks? You know what? After this is finished, scroll back to about half an hour before this point and you'll find the answer to that one.
Yeah, indeed. So,
Kiss into the pits.
ooh, also going for intermediates, I suppose. No slick tires just yet. I mean, there's not even a real dry line forming, so it would be something not very wise. Let's take a look out on Michi Hoyer though. He is looking to get pretty close to the back of Kamil Laiswa. Not
Just
right
ahead
in
of
front of him, yeah.
Yeah, Francesconi was alongside his teammate, but sort of backed out of it. He's going to go deep at the final corner. He's lost a little bit of ground there, and there's Kamil Laiswa trying to capitalise, and Michi Hoyer trying to capitalise on, I can't get my words out, capitalise on Laiswa, and here he goes up alongside, but this is what I was on about earlier. You pull alongside and your speed goes down.
Yeah, but maybe under braking though. Michi Hoyer with a great braking effort into turn 1 gets past Kamil Laiswa. A very, very nice move there by Michi Hoyer. However, can Kamil do anything now coming to turn 4? Not really, doesn't have the top speed, braking, no, not really, so seems that Michi Hoyer has gotten that position. Very
Paris
nice move.
in the pits.
Ooh, very good spot. Prix is into the pit, yeah.
I was going to mention a lap or so ago when Kiss pitted that if Patel was to time a pit stop perfectly, he could jump Paris. If Paris has timed this right, Paris has stayed on the full wet tyre, unless it just hasn't updated for me. It looks like he's stayed on full wet tyre.
Yes,
oh, and it nearly hit the pit wall.
That was really close indeed. He rejoins just behind Michele D'Alessandro, but interesting choice indeed to go to the full wet tire. Maybe his fuel ran out, or he had to stop because of fuel, and he felt that it wasn't quite ready yet for Inters.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he could have gone for a splash and dash without changing the tyres if he felt the tyres were still good, to try and save himself a couple of seconds. But, I mean, if you've got to pit because you haven't got enough fuel in the car, there's absolutely bugger all you can do about it. You've got to pit. You do have the advantage of saying, my tyres are okay, they'll last, and save a second or two and take as little pain as possible.
yeah, Gunnar Simicic also onto the intermediate tires now. Let's take a little bit of a look out on those times from Mashuli and Kiss and Simoncic. Mashuli did a 43.7 last lap, 42.4 even this lap. That is a little bit quicker than Patel, but Lars Brugman is about 5/10 quicker than that. So seems that the Inters and wets have about the same pace at the moment, at least for Mashuli.
Oh, Risto Capet, he's come back out in 13th place. Well, I tell you what, though, Laiswa and Michi Hoyer. Michi Hoyer's just got past Laiswa, I think. No, he did it the previous lap. My apologies, a couple of laps ago. Laiswa was attacking back at him. Francesconi still all over the back of his teammate Valeriano. I think he'll hate seeing the back of that car, but he can't really complain because it's on the back of his as well.
Yeah, also Eros Mashuli starting to put real pressure on Kamil. Now coming down the back straight. Be a very good exit from Eros Mashuli. You can read that wing very nicely there from Kamil. Ooh, oh dear. And there's been contact there by Eros Mashuli.
I tell you what, Sadler was lucky to miss Leiswa then, who was in the road from that contact. But yeah, Sadler come around the corner, was full on the brake, sliding towards him. I think breathing in helped him on that one.
Let's get a replay of that. So, coming down to that left-hander, it seemed that Leiswa just clipped the curb a little bit too much, slowed his car down. Masudi wasn't expecting that and needed to, couldn't really avoid any contact. Tough to judge, and indeed lucky for Sadler to miss that.
Okay, we're in an interesting situation time. Obviously, we've got Patel leading the race, and you could say, well, if he just stays on these full wets and goes to the end, he's got it covered. But if the track changes enough, if there's 8 laps left, if there's 10 laps left, the amount of time he could lose could be big enough that if people pit and he doesn't, he could lose the victory.
Patel and Bruckmann into the pit. Patel goes to the intermediates. What does Bruckmann do? Same. Also to the intermediate tires. So this is gonna be a very interesting end of this race. We've got 14 laps remaining. Jim Prix exits just ahead of Mohammed Patel. But Patel is on the quicker tire, and on a drying track, definitely the intermediates are gonna come into his hand.
Yeah, I mean, this may work beautifully for Patel. I mean, let's see, overall he's gained a couple of seconds. He was able to put in his second to last lap on the full wet tyre was a 1:40. So he was absolutely flying on that full wet tyre, showing him that it was time to switch over to the intermediate. Let's see, what was Jim Parisis's last time? If I look at the right ones, I can let you know it was also a 40.6. So yeah, it may not work for Parisis.
Indeed, it might be a little bit, not misjudgment, but not the best strategy call from the VB Madcape department. Let's see, Michael Francesconi into the pit together with Mitchie Hoyer, also James Sadler right behind them.
Risto Capit, going for a move down the main straight on the intermediate tyres on Camille Leisra, who's still on the full wets. Camille fighting it around the outside, but with Risto being on those inters, there's absolutely nothing he can do about it, and ahead he goes.
Yes, indeed. Camille Leisra struggling on his wet tyres at the moment. Really showing that the wets probably are not the tyre to be on at the moment. Somebody just a second ago asking in the chat, are there gonna be full dry tires on the end of the race, do you think?
I don't. Not unless the sun comes out and absolutely bakes this track. But I don't think there's enough cars out there to really get it dry enough. From what we saw earlier on, those who risked it, it cost them big time. I mean, it took another 5-6 laps from the point the first people went for slicks for it to actually work. Patel, the gap now, 1.3 seconds. This is on. This is game on.
Yes, definitely. I think you've said it very well. Probably these guys won't take a risk. I mean, it's only 13 laps remaining, and there might be indeed time for dry tires by the end of the race, but who's going to do a pit stop if it's only 2 laps to the end of the race?
Exactly. Now, you see, when Patel made his pit stop, he knew that Parisis had made a pit stop. He'd got that in the bag for Patel. He knew if he needed to stop again, he's got a fight still. And he had the bonus of going for the intermediate tyre. I think Parisis, well, we'll see how this next sort of 13, 14 laps goes, but I think Parisis may be sort of banging his head against the wall after this race if not changing to the intermediates when he pitted costs him this win.
Yes, indeed. Here we go. Patel out of the second to last corner. Maybe getting some time in the mirrors of Jim Parisis. We go out of the last corner. Jim has a little bit more traction there. But how is Patel going to cope on the slipstream? Here we go, coming down the straight. A lot of speed there for Mohammed Patel. Pulls out of the slipstream, but cannot outbrake him coming into turn 1. Maybe here on the back straight. We've seen a couple of moves here coming to turn 4. Here we go. Very good exit again from Mohammed Patel. Has to go on the wet part. Maybe his braking won't be as powerful as Jim Parisis, and indeed it won't be. So he has to find another place to get past Jim Parisis.
Well, I think Patel definitely knows who is driving the car ahead of him, given the big name written on that rear wing. But I mean, it's interesting for Paris. If he stays on the racing line, it's going to be difficult for Patel up to a point, and then those white tyres are just not going to work for him.
Yeah, we've already seen him do a brilliant pass around the outside 2 times almost in the corner just coming up now. So maybe he's thinking himself as well, hey, I did it here before, let's try it again. Here we go, braking nicely on the power again. You can see he's looking, but there's not enough room for him to go. So he needs to try it somewhere else. He's closer than last lap, however. And Jim makes a mistake. There's no room for Patel to go on, because that curb on the outside is really, really tricky and deadly, as Chris Raby said in the Ace commentary, or in the Pro commentary just earlier today. Now coming down the last corner, and now Patel is the one that slides a little bit too much. So Jim has the advantage here coming down the main straight. However, the slipstream is gonna be for Patel. Pulling out of it now. Side by side coming into turn 1. Who's going to be the one outbraking Patel? Side by side, still a little bit of contact there in turn 1. However, in turn 2 it is Mohammed Patel back into the lead here on the 46th lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Nice bit of driving from Patel there. He tested the brakes out on that part of the track on previous laps and didn't quite feel it was on. This time he was a lot closer, and because he was alongside, he was able to just make sure he stayed fully alongside. That gave him the position, gave him the space, gave him the opportunity, and he's already opened up a gap now of 1.5 seconds. Question for Paris is, with 11 laps to go, are you going to take the pain of another pit stop? Or are you going to try and hang it out there and hope that 3rd and 4th aren't going to come and get you?
It's really the sun shining at the moment, and the track drying up quite quickly. But as we said earlier, it's probably just not quick enough for dry tires, and the end of the race is coming too quickly to really make such a pit stop work.
Okay, through those rounds of pit stops, there has been a couple of changes of position. Hoyer has managed to get ahead of Francesconi and Valeriano, but he's behind Leisworth again, and that's because Leisworth is still running the full wet tyre. Whether that gap is going to come down and close in, I would guess it would. And if Hoyer catches him, then Francesconi will, and possibly Valeriano and Sadler. Sadler and Valeriano are quite close.
Yes, indeed. So James Sadler is also still battling a little bit with Giordano Valeriano. This is basically for the second to last position, or third to last position of the race. Couple of DNFs already. Of course, to be expected with such difficult track conditions. Also, Michio Kamal Leisworth still really close. You can see right in the background also Giordano Valeriano, James Sadler right behind him.
I'm just having a look at how many times drivers have pitted. Top 6 have all pitted 3 times each. 7th and 8th have pitted 4 times. 9th, Camille Leisworth has pitted twice. Michi Hoyer 4 times. Francesconi, Valeriano, Sadler and Blair Disley have all pitted 3 times as well. So plenty of pit stops in a race where many thought it would probably just a simple 2-stop race this, or quick 3-stop race. No, it's been anything but.
There we go, James Sadler. Seems to have a okay exit here out of the last corner. Here we go, coming down the straight. Top speed seems to be good, 320 kilometers an hour. Outbrakes himself though coming into turn 1, and that allows Giordano Valeriano to get back past.
Okay, interesting. Patel, Parisis, they're searching for the damp parts of the track. Brugman, he's only 3 seconds behind Parisis now. Parisis is in the firing line.
Yep, he's gonna be. That's gonna be interesting to see how he will manage. I mean, he's about 3 seconds a lap slower almost on his wet tires, and he has still got 9 laps to go. So Maybe he's even got to watch out for Michele D'Alessandro.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, if you're in Parisis's position, possibly should have pitted a few laps ago. If you're going to have to pit now, that's when he'll be asked. The conversation with the engineer will be, do I gamble the slicks? It could backfire massively, but do I gamble it? 10 laps, option tyres. If it works, you'd be lightning fast, but it's going to cost you 25-30 seconds to go and put them on.
Yep, indeed. You're going to lose out anyway. Unless it suddenly starts.
If it starts raining again, I'm going home. I'm going. All right, I already am home. I'm going to bed. I'll just pack it in. I mean, how many times has it rained? 3 times, twice in the race, 3 times, something like that. It's been mental.
Basically that, yeah. And Michi Hoyer still battling for that 9th position. You can see there in the back as well, Giordano and Kamil Liswa. Now coming into turn 1, a little bit of contact between the two. Who's gonna leave the space to turn 2? Yeah, it's gonna be Giordano in front. Up to 11th position. So how is Brugman doing?
Oh, he's catching. I think the problem for Prix is he's struggling to get around the corners, which is obvious, really. But Brugman's catching him quite rapidly. Brugman's lost a little bit of time to Patel at the front, but he won't worry too much about that. You focus on the car that's ahead of you, deal with them, and then worry about what else is around you. And for Brugman, he's gaining on Paris as if Paris has got an anchor hanging out the back of that car. And in these conditions, he probably could have done with on, or at least a few drivers could have done. Now, the interesting thing is, if we start seeing drivers on intermediate tyres struggling for grip on the racing line, it could be a surefire sign of overheating their tyres. And from my experience in these cars, if you overheat the tyres, they do not like it at all. But that is on the slicks, not the intermediates or the wets. Brugman is on the back of Paris now. Let's see how they get on down towards turn 1. Paris opened up a little bit of a gap, but now the slipstream will kick in. And this is a good opportunity for Brugman if he wants to risk it, but he has got 7 laps to take his time and pick the perfect opportunity.
Oh, almost spinning around there, Lars Brugman. Just kept it in a straight line, luckily. Now braking for the turn 4. And just see that he has got just so much more grip than Paris is. Coming down the hill. Paris makes a mistake and Brugman immediately capitalizes on that. They make a little bit of contact on the apex there. But Lars Brugman taking the position here. Very nicely up to 2nd position. I would say not bad for a debut.
Definitely car in the background there as well. Lapped car getting well out of the way. For Paris now he's got to be careful of D'Alessandro because D'Alessandro is only 5 seconds behind. But looking at how Brugman was able to capitalise, it could get worse for Paris. We have had a comment in the YouTube chat saying dry tyres now if you're a man. All I'd say on that one is how did that work out for you? And that's all I'll say on that one because I know it didn't work out too well. Anyway, I don't mean you, Felix. 6-7 laps to go. Patel leading the way with a 10-second gap. I'm looking at the rest of the field. Francesconi and Hoyer look very, very close.
Yep, Kamil Liswa pulls into the pit lane. Maybe he is the one with the balls and take on the dry tires. If you could take an eye out on that, I will see if Michi Hoyer can get past Michael Francesconi.
So I'll keep an eye on whether Kamil Liswa is a man or a mouse.
So coming through the hairpin. Not really enough of a exit for Michi to try and make that overtake on Valeriano. Of course, or Michael Francesconi this time. So I think Michi has seen enough network scars for the rest of the season, maybe even.
Quite possibly in one race. Okay, let's see. Pit exit, bit treacherous in the on the slick tyres, but I'll keep an eye on Camille and I'll let you know how he gets on.
Yeah. Has got a reasonably good exit out of the last corner. Now what can he do? He needs to go on the wet part of the circuit. Actually, Michael Francesconi goes defensive and Michi goes onto that wet part of the circuit, braking now for turn 1, but indeed no braking power there. And maybe even they're fooled by Michael Francesconi. I mean, Michael seemed to go to the defensive line, but then Michi just went for that inside, and Michael could just brake on the dry part of the circuit and have that better braking power than Michi.
Dry tyres, not a good option. Camille Leisler, unfortunately, he's had a couple of adventures off the track and his teammate has overtaken him. But yeah, dry tyres, not good. If you can stay on the dry bit of the track, you're okay. But it's not so easy to do that. As soon as you touch a damp bit, away you go.
Exactly.
Paresis and the Alessandro, it's just over a second and a half. The Alessandro can see what is ahead of him. It is a World Championship podium. He's got a handful of laps. He's got a handful of opportunities. Can he handle it?
Yeah, it's for a podium position. I think Michele will be trying everything in the book to get past Jim as quick as possible. Let's hope it's also in a fair manner. Of course, that can be expected from all these WC drivers. They're the best of the best.
He's gaining, the Alessandro gaining a lot in those corners, and where he had the grip through there, that's where the dry tyres don't. The Alessandro, it's your opportunity. And this is where, for the viewers, they're going to be sat there thinking, yeah, he'll do it, it's easy. And there'll be the Jim fans saying, no, it's not going to happen. But with this slipstream that he's going to get, it'll give him an opportunity. But again, it's a similar situation to Brugman earlier on. He can try going for it early, or he can just be a little patient, and the opportunity will come his way.
Yeah, indeed. Here we go, very close on the exit of turn 4, coming through 5 and 6 now. Jim seems to keep it together at the moment, but for how long is that going to be? You still got about 4.5 laps to get to the end. Let's see how he will manage.
Well, I mean, for being on wet tyres, I mean, he's managing very, very well. I mean, once there was less than or around 10 laps to go, I mean, pitting wasn't really an option. I mean, in this situation, he's going to finish 4th. If it had pitted, it'd have been looking at 6th, 7th, 6th place.
Yeah. So indeed, I probably would agree that this, after the circumstances, of course, is the better choice to stay out.
Here we go. Here we go. No, he's good.
He's looking. But of course, if he makes the overtake there, Paris is going to have the slipstream on him.
Oh, he's got him now. He's got him now. He's closer than he's been on the previous attempts. Here we go then, onto the wet part of the track. He's going to have to make sure he gets his braking right. Side by side, nearly making a little bit of contact as the Alessandro tries to get a bit better braking capability. But through he goes. And it's unfortunate for Paresis, but he put up a good fight.
Yep, definitely. Gave it everything he got. However, I think this is going to change for him anymore. Jonas Simoncic 11 seconds behind him, so gonna be something really worrying. Either he has to have a failure or something, but let's not talk too much about that. Doing a good job so far, being in 4th position.
I think something may have happened to Masciuli.
What do you think has happened? Oh, whoa!
Wait, I
DNF.
went on board with him, and the camera was just stationary on the start-finish, so I don't know if there's a disconnection. But yeah, Masciuli out of the race.
Indeed, when I go to the replay, it doesn't really show anything. No, it seems. Oh, replay a little bit further down, but. Yeah.
James Sadler's about to make a move on Valeriano. Is he? No, Valeriano much more aggressive on the brakes into turn 1. This is now a fight. Valeriano Sadler is now a fight for the final points position in this race. Although they are a lap down, so they've got a lap less to battle it out.
Ooh, a little bit of a mistake there from Valeriano. Is that gonna cost him? Not yet. Sadler is very close to his rear wing. Right, here we go. And the hairpin. Ooh, a little bit on the wet part they go. And there we go. James Sadler passed. Just leaves enough space for Valeriano there on the outside. How is the top speed of Valeriano gonna be? He's gonna have a little bit of a slipstream now coming into the left-hander. That's not gonna be enough. And Valeriano again goes onto that wet line and loses quite a bit of grip there. So indeed, James Sadler taking, at least for now, the last point of the race.
The next closest battle is Hoyer and Francesconi. Hoyer's got an opportunity here. Slipstream on the main straight, onto the damp part of the track. It looks like he's going to have the move quite comfortably done, but with no DRS, you don't get that extra boost of speed. Tight around turn 1. It's going to be tight around turn 2 as well. And Hoyer just about squeezes through. I'll tell you what, though, as last season's ace champion, I don't think 8th place is where he'd have been expecting to be. But with the nature of how this race has gone, I think, to be fair, a lot of the drivers will just be happy to get to the end, score some points, and get themselves a shower, probably.
Yeah, well, luckily for them, they are in the virtual world and haven't already been showered by the thunderstorms around the circuit. But yeah, only about 2 laps remaining in this race now. Marco Francesconi not giving up on Michi Hoyer just yet. Maybe he can do something in these final laps of the race. It would be quite something.
Oh, Francesconi's ran wide. He's going to have to be careful as well because the car behind him is second place sitter Brugman. I think he's... no, Brugman's backed off from them, actually.
Patel even. Patel's right behind Valeriano. About to lap him.
I think it's Brugman. But yeah. Oh no, you could be right.
Yeah,
you could be right.
Patel.
My apologies. We've got 2 cars with a net wrecks in front of them that have been recently overtaken. So yeah, my apologies.
Yeah. I think I was watching Francesconi. You were watching Valeriano.
Okay. We were both right. That's what I'll go with. Okay, Mohamed Patel, he is on to the last lap of the race now. And Felix, I'll give you a shout when he is getting towards the finish line.
Yeah,
if there's any battles you want to keep an eye on.
Yep, Giordano Valeriano not giving up on James Sadler just yet for that last point. But it seems that Sadler has got it in the bag for now. And yeah, Valeriano doing the honors there by letting Lars Brugman pass in the best way you can. Get out of the way as soon as you possibly can. And let's hope some drivers watching from ASM Pro also look at how we respected the blue flags there. Wink, wink.
Well, someone that did respect the blue flags was the Narex car ahead of Mohammed Patel, but then Mohammed Patel actually went off at that horrible left turn, had a little bit of a moment off, and the Narex car come back past him for a moment and let him go again. So Patel, only one corner to go until he takes the victory here at Bahrain.
Yeah. So indeed, it is Mohammed Patel taking the victory here for the second round of the Formula SimRacing World Championship. Yeah, it's been a great round. It's been a very, very interesting round. I mean, stopping rain, back to the intermediate tires when it started raining, or back to the wet tires. It's been very, very tricky conditions here, and Mohammed Patel has proven himself to be the best in these conditions, at least for now. Lars Brugman did a very good job in finishing in second position for his first race in FSR. I think really you can say job well done. Michele D'Alessandro for Twister Racing. Also, of course, very good job in rounding up that podium with his third position. Jim Paresis, not the best strategy calls he did. So for him, he has to do with a fourth position. Luckily for him, Journey Simoncic just didn't have enough time to get past him. So Journey in fifth position. Then Daniel Kiss has driven a bit of a lonely race, especially in the middle and last part of the race. But does well to finish in sixth position, getting them points for Twister Racing or Musto Racing as well. And then Risto Capet, the guy that I think has been the most unlucky guy in the whole race, right the lap when he went to pit for the option tires, it started to rain again. So he had to do basically a whole another lap with very tricky conditions and then stop again for his second pit stop in basically a row. And then Michi Hoyer, the 2016 Ace champion, probably not as high up as he would have liked, in 8th position. Then we've got Michael Francesconi in 9th and James Sadler in 10th. He picking up the last point right in front of Giordano Valeriano. And our last two finishers are from Go Speed Engineering, Blair Dishley and Camille Liswa. So, Dave, what did you think about this first race of the season?
I'm knackered. I've not even driven, and I'm knackered. What a race. I mean, it was not like anything any of us expected, that is for sure. How the race would have been in the dry, no idea. But we didn't have a dry race. We had a wet race, and fair play to all of the drivers dealing with those difficult conditions. There's going to be some that are going to be frustrated, as you mentioned, Risto, Capit, talk about unlucky. There'll be others that are frustrated because they've made decisions that haven't worked. But overall, I mean, Mohammed Patel, I mean, where did he qualify? From what I remember, it wasn't that high up. I think it was outside the top 10. So whether it's through luck...
11th position, yeah.
11th place, yeah. So whether it's through luck, judgment, whatever, a fantastic drive from him. But again, I mean, it's a race that had so many different leaders throughout the race. I mean, it was fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah, I think I cannot agree more. And yeah, I mean, we have seen so much action today. It's really something promising for the rest of the season to look forward to. But I think we are about to make an end to this first weekend of FSR for this year. It's been a great pleasure to be able to do the camera work and do the commentary together with you, Dave. Just a thing I want to remind the people of is that the next race is going to be the Spanish Grand Prix. The Spanish Grand Prix at Barcelona. Very nice circuit, of course, as well. be driving for 66 laps there with Ace and the World Championship. It's going to be in 2 weeks' time, the 2nd of April for the World Championship, and I think let's hope to see you all there. I want to thank you all for watching, of course, and again thank you, Dave, for joining me once again here in the commentary booth.
You're very welcome, Felix. Always a pleasure. Cracking job. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and take care for the rest of the evening. Have a good one, and see you in 2 weeks' time.